All right, so buckle up because we're diving deep into some seriously intense astrology.
Hmm.
We're talking about the kind of predictions that, well, they just stop you in your tracks.
Oh, absolutely.
And with us to navigate this cosmic roller coaster, we have Lorenzo,
Mm.
um,
Hmm.
renowned astrologer, known for his, just incredible accuracy, but also for his, let's just say his blunt honesty.
Absolutely. Lorenzo doesn't sugarcoat anything. You know what you're getting with him. It's
Yeah,
straight up based on those planetary movements and how they hit us.
exactly. And this latest reading, specifically for the full moon in Virgo and the lunar eclipse, for all you Cancer signs out there, well, let's just say it's intense.
Intense is putting it mildly.
Lorenzo, I'm telling you, he doesn't hold back. So to set the scene, he starts off with this, well, it's pretty dramatic analogy. He talks about an old mansion.
Yeah, like an inherited mansion.
Right. And it's filled with
It's
secrets.
filled with secrets. And the choice that you face, are you going to face those secrets or are you going to let them haunt you forever?
That's heavy stuff.
It is. It is. He even describes it as walking into this dusty old mansion, at the end of some road,
Forgotten road.
a forgotten road, and you inherit it. You didn't even ask for it, and you don't know what's inside.
That's spooky.
Yeah.
Okay, but what is this? I mean, an inherited mansion full of secrets? What's that got to do with astrology?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. So Lorenzo says that mansion, it represents your own, like, deep down psychological and emotional patterns. It's like a metaphor
Okay,
for your deepest self,
I see.
built upon generations of family history.
So it's like we're all carrying around these invisible mansions
Yeah.
shaped by our ancestors.
Exactly. And this full moon, it's like this cosmic spotlight shining right into those hidden rooms and passageways. Lorenzo particularly emphasizes the paternal line here.
The father's side.
The father's side. Themes of control, safety, practicality. Imagine, generations ago, your ancestors built this mansion and they added, their own secret rooms, locked doors, hidden passageways. And brother has it, their fears and regrets are still in those walls.
This is getting creepy again.
Yeah.
Okay. But what about the mother's side? Does Lorenzo talk about any maternal influences?
Absolutely. Lorenzo says there's a powerful mother wound trigger activated by this full moon. Unaddressed childhood vulnerabilities, suppressed emotional needs related to the maternal line. And the way he describes it, raw and intense, he says it's like realizing you're not just living in this mansion, you are the mansion.
Whoa, okay.
Each locked door is a piece of you that's been kept hidden, either for tradition or because of, just raw fear.
So we've got this inherited mansion representing our deepest selves, influenced by both paternal and maternal lines. And this full moon is forcing us to confront all the secrets and hidden patterns within.
Right. It's a lot, but we haven't even gotten to the specifics of, the actual astrological aspects that Lorenzo highlights.
Well, let's get into it. Lorenzo always has such a way of explaining how these planetary movements play out in our lives.
He does. So, first up, the full moon and lunar eclipse
Okay.
in Virgo at 24 degrees, conjunct the south node. Lorenzo says this is huge. It's disrupting your daily routines, exposing limiting beliefs, and demanding honesty.
No more hiding.
No more hiding.
So the south node, could you quickly remind me what that represents?
In simple terms, the south node, past karma, ingrained habits. So when the full moon conjuncts the south node, it dredges up all those old patterns and behaviors that aren't serving you anymore.
Okay, so this full moon in Virgo, it's like a cosmic decluttering
Yes.
for our lives.
It is time to clear out that clutter.
Yeah.
Both physical and mental.
All right, I'm ready. No more overthinking.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there's more to it than just like cleaning our routines. What else does Lorenzo say?
Well, on top of the full moon conjunct the south node, we also have a sextile to Mars in Cancer at 18 degrees. This is giving you, he says, a surge of emotional power and the chance to fight for what truly matters.
Ooh, a sextile to Mars. In Cancer, the sign of emotions, nurturing. This sounds powerful, but maybe also volatile.
Definitely. Lorenzo calls it a golden ticket to stop living by everyone else's rules. But he also warns that if you wimp out now, you can expect a meltdown instead of a breakthrough.
So it's like this intense energy at our disposal, but we got to use it wisely.
Yes. And to make it even trickier, along with the sextile to Mars, we also have an opposition to Saturn in Pisces at 22 degrees. This, Lorenzo says, is a reality check for any escapist tendencies, especially around spirituality or beliefs.
Saturn, the planet of limitations and restrictions, opposing the full moon.
Not a walk in the park.
No, it's not.
Saturn in Pisces can bring up some harsh realities. especially if you've been clinging to illusions or avoiding responsibility. Lorenzo says, and I quote, "If you've been living in some la-la land belief, Saturn crushes that nonsense. Get real or get left behind."
Okay, this full moon. Disrupting routines, intense emotions, and a reality check. Anything else?
There's more. Lorenzo also points out a trine to Uranus in Taurus at 24 degrees. Okay, this aspect is all about innovative change, breaking free from like outdated conditioning. It's like the universe is saying, all right, here's your chance, shake things up, create a life that's actually aligned with, your soul's purpose.
A trine to Uranus. Now that sounds refreshing. Uranus, the planet of rebellion, breakthroughs.
Yes, and a trine is a harmonious aspect. So this suggests that change can come easily. Flow. Lorenzo highlights how this can help you break free from like outdated groupthink, create a drastically different future.
So even with all the intensity, there's this potential for positive transformation.
Absolutely. But don't get too cozy because Lorenzo also points out an opposition to Neptune in Pisces at 29 degrees.
Okay.
He describes this as the final showdown with illusions, particularly those that keep you from facing, well, difficult truths.
Neptune, the planet of dreams, illusions. And at 29 degrees, that's the very last degree of a sign. Feels like a culmination.
Yes, Lorenzo warns, there's no middle ground here. Beliefs become either enlightened or delusional. He doesn't mince words. If you've been avoiding reality, especially in spiritual or philosophical matters, this calls you out. No more hiding. Make a choice. Live with it.
Wow, intense. This full moon is really pushing us to a turning point. But we still have the nodes. You mentioned them earlier. What about them?
Right. This full moon also involves an opposition to the North Node and a conjunction to the South Node in Pisces and Virgo. Lorenzo calls this a karmic crossroads. You choose, clinging to old habits or bravely embracing your soul's purpose.
So the North Node, our soul's path, is opposing the South Node, our past karma. Sounds like a cosmic tug-of-war.
It is. And Lorenzo really drives this home. He keeps repeating things like, this is yes or no. The cosmos demands action, not waiting. We can't stay stuck.
This is a lot to process. This full moon, confronting shadows, embracing change, making serious choices.
We've barely scratched the surface of how these influences play out in your personal birth chart.
I'm definitely ready to dive deeper. But let's take a quick break first. When we come back, we'll explore what all of this means specifically for you, Cancer signs.
So, welcome back to the deep dive. All this astrology talk, it can be,
A bit abstract.
a bit abstract.
Yeah.
So let's try and ground it a little bit. Remember that mansion analogy?
Yeah.
Lorenzo isn't just like throwing out random images here.
Right.
He's really trying to make it visual, how these patterns play out in your life.
The mansion representing like that inherited emotional, psychological blueprint, right?
Exactly.
It's so vivid.
Yeah, he's saying you've inherited this structure full of potential,
Okay.
but it's also weighed down by the past.
Right.
Every room, every corner, it holds a piece of your family history.
Almost like those ancestors, like lurking in the shadows,
Right.
whispering their fears and doubts.
Exactly. And Lorenzo, he gets really specific.
He does.
He talks about this energy going back to your paternal line,
Yeah.
your father or grandfather, the lineage that maybe taught you to play it safe. Stick to the rules.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat. Exactly.
Yeah, thinking about my dad, he always stressed the importance of a stable job and a predictable life.
Exactly. And that's the point here. These beliefs, they're passed down
Generation to generation.
generation to generation, and they become part of that foundation of your ancestral mansion.
Okay.
And now the universe is basically showing up with a cosmic sledgehammer
Whoa.
to smash it.
Okay.
It's saying, wake up, you don't have to live by those rules.
It's like permission to break free.
Exactly. You have the choice to either replay that old script or finally, confront that authority figure inside.
That internalized voice.
That you never question.
It's funny. I never really connected my dad's cautious nature
Yeah.
with my own reluctance to really step outside my comfort zone.
Oh, interesting.
But now I'm starting to see the connection, those patterns.
That's what I love about astrology,
Yeah.
It helps you see those unconscious patterns and make a choice. Which ones to keep, which ones to release.
So we've got this paternal influence pushing us towards safety, practicality. But then there's the mother wound trigger that Lorenzo throws in.
Yeah.
How does that fit in?
Adds another layer, right?
Right.
it gets more complex. Remember how Lorenzo talked about unaddressed childhood vulnerabilities and those suppressed emotional needs from the mother's side?
Suddenly surfacing.
Yeah, exactly. Like this full moon suddenly shining a light on all the ways you learn to like dim your light or,
Deny your need.
deny your needs to please others, especially mom.
It's like a double whammy.
Yeah.
Breaking free from paternal limitations while also dealing with the emotional baggage from mom.
And Lorenzo says these two are working together. It's like a cosmic tug of war. He says, the reason you might feel so raw is because these energies are pulling double duty, unshackling what your father's line expected from you while igniting the unspoken needs your mother's line taught you to deny.
No wonder this full moon feels so intense.
Right.
Like being pulled in two opposite directions.
Exactly. You're trying to break free from the structure, the limitations,
Right.
but also embrace the emotional depth and intuition of your maternal side.
Recipe for inner turmoil, but also a chance for some serious healing.
Exactly. And in all this, Lorenzo reminds us that the battleground is your mind.
Our thoughts.
Pay attention to your thoughts, he says, how they've been shaped by those ancestral scripts.
So it's not just changing our circumstances, it's about the inner dialogue
Right.
that keeps us stuck.
And that can be tough, especially if you've never questioned those inherited beliefs.
Right. I think that's where Lorenzo's guidance comes in, about cutting the crap, embracing the tension,
Yeah.
letting go of the old stories, step into the unknown.
And in the middle of it all, he throws in another curveball, the illusions.
The illusions, yeah.
The ones that keep you cozy in dreamland, he says, instead of facing the world's ugliness.
Oof, that's tough to hear.
It is time to get real with ourselves, face the truth.
So we're dealing with paternal limitations, maternal wounds, mental patterns, illusions, all coming together with this full moon.
It's a lot.
It is. What's the overall message here? What's the light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, this is where it gets exciting. Lorenzo says this full moon, this lunar eclipse, it's rewriting your emotional DNA.
Wow.
If you let it.
Okay.
He's talking about breaking free from those cycles, those karmic cycles that have been going on for generations.
So it's not just personal growth, it's about healing the past.
And creating a new legacy.
For future generations.
Exactly. It's a huge responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity.
It is. And it all starts with, facing the truth.
However uncomfortable it might be.
So how do we navigate this practically? What can our listeners do?
Well, Lorenzo, he reminds us this is a yes or no situation. You either purge those old habits, the illusions, or you cling to them, and they basically rot your next phase of growth.
Okay.
And he gives specific guidance. Cut the crap.
Okay.
Embrace the tension and use the support.
So let's break it down. Cut the crap. What does he mean by that?
Be ruthless with yourself. Be honest. End the mental loops, the illusions, the toxic attachments.
No more excuses.
No more excuses, no more settling.
And embrace the tension. That sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does, but Lorenzo reminds us, those oppositions, those squares in your chart, they're not there to ruin your life.
Right.
They're opportunities to grow and expand.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Exactly.
All right, I like it.
And use the support, he says. Tap into the positive aspects in your chart, the resources you have.
Okay.
He specifically mentions the trine to Uranus and the sextile to Mars. Game changers, he calls them.
So even with the challenges, there's support.
Yeah, these powerful sources of energy, innovation to help you break free.
You just have to tap into them.
Exactly. Lorenzo is giving us the roadmap, but the choice is ours. Embrace the challenge or stay stuck.
Right. That brings us back to rewriting our emotional DNA.
Yeah.
It's not just us. It's about healing ancestral patterns for future generations.
Exactly. Lorenzo drives this home with another metaphor.
Okay.
He talks about dismantling the invisible fortress your ancestors built in your mind.
Right.
Calls it generational rebellion.
We're reclaiming our power, breaking free from those limitations.
Yes, and he reminds us this isn't just for you, it's for everyone who came before.
But everyone comes after.
It's like we're all connected, our actions impact the whole fabric, so choose wisely, act with intention.
Lorenzo's challenging us to be conscious creators
Yes.
of our own destiny, but also for our lineage.
Exactly, and he emphasizes this full moon, it's a rare opportunity
Yeah.
to make a difference. It's a once-and-done storm, he says.
Wow.
Either fling open every room and face what's inside, or spend the rest of your life haunted by what you refuse to see.
Chills. Literally chills.
It's that intense.
The urgency of this moment.
It is, but Lorenzo gives us a path forward.
Yeah.
He outlines 3 steps.
Okay.
Speak up, cut ties, and take the leap.
Let's unpack those. What's Speak Up all about?
Finding your voice.
Okay.
Expressing your truth, even if it's scary.
Yeah.
Say what's on your mind, he says. Yes, even the stuff that could stir the pot.
No more holding back.
It's about claiming your power, setting those boundaries.
Cut ties. That sounds a little drastic.
It might feel drastic, but Lorenzo's adamant. Cut the crap, he says, and the mental loops, the illusions, the toxic attachments you've been tolerating.
Letting go of anything that's holding us back.
Exactly.
Even if it's scary.
Even if it's scary.
Take the leap. What do you think he means by that?
Bold action towards your dreams,
Right.
even if you don't have all the answers.
Trusting our intuition.
Exactly. The universe is conspiring to support you, he says, but you have to meet it halfway.
And this full moon is the time.
You've been itching to start something, end something. Now is when you do it. No apologies.
Okay, starting to feel really excited here. Anything is possible.
That's the spirit. And remember, it's not just you.
Right.
Breaking free from limitations for yourself, your family, generations to come.
Lorenzo has definitely given us a picture
He has.
of the challenges, the opportunities with this full moon. Now, I'm really curious to hear about the specifics, like the astrological breakdown
Yes.
of each aspect,
Yeah.
how they play out in our lives.
Let's dive in.
Okay, bring on the astrological wisdom. I'm ready to unpack this. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Lorenzo's predictions for this full moon in Virgo and lunar eclipse, with a special focus on Cancer signs.
Yeah, Lorenzo has really, given us a lot to think about already.
A lot to unpack, right?
With, the mansion analogy and those ancestral patterns.
It's like he's really encouraging us to look at our emotional inheritance.
We're holding on to what needs to go.
And it's not just about, like, individual growth here.
It's bigger.
Yeah. He's saying our choices during this full moon can, like, rewrite our emotional DNA.
And impact, generations to come.
Powerful stuff.
Really powerful, right? Breaking free from those family patterns and creating a more positive, legacy?
It's a lot to take in. But it all starts with, making that choice to step into our power.
Embrace the change.
Which brings us back to that yes or no challenge that Lorenzo keeps bringing up.
It's like a constant theme.
Yeah, no fence sitting allowed with this energy.
He's really firm on that. The universe wants action, commitment.
He actually says, yes, absolutely. The universal forces are screaming at you to charge forward. No half steps. No cowardly tiptoeing around.
Wow, he's serious.
Yeah, no mincing words there. So it's like exciting, but also kind of intimidating. Right?
Yeah, to think we have this power to shape our destiny and impact future generations.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
It is, but it's also this huge opportunity.
It is. But before we get overwhelmed, Lorenzo does give us some pretty practical steps.
He does.
He outlines 3 key actions.
Right.
Cut the crap, embrace the tension, and use the support.
Okay, let's break those down.
Yeah, let's unpack them. What's he getting at with cut the crap?
Basically being real with yourself, like ruthlessly honest.
Yeah, and releasing anything that's not serving you.
Yeah, thought patterns, limiting beliefs, relationships that drain your energy.
If like decluttering, but for our inner world.
Right, got to make space for something new.
Okay, I can get behind that. Now, what about embrace the tension? That sounds kind of,
Counterintuitive.
yeah.
Lorenzo reminds us those tough aspects in our charts, the oppositions, the squares.
They're not there to, like, punish us.
No, they're actually opportunities.
Okay.
They just come disguised as obstacles.
It's like growth comes from discomfort.
Exactly. Lean into the challenges. Don't resist.
All right, so challenge accepted. And then, finally, use the support. What's that about?
Well, he's saying we're not alone in this. We've got resources, our intuition, our friends, family, maybe a therapist, healer.
Right, reaching out for help.
Yeah, and he specifically talks about the trine to Uranus and the sextile to Mars. Says they're game changers.
It's like a boost of energy.
Yes. That can help break free from those old patterns.
So tap into your strengths, and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it.
Exactly. And that brings us to, well, the nitty-gritty of it all.
The astrological details.
Yeah, how each aspect plays out.
Okay, hit me with it.
So, remember how Lorenzo stressed the full moon and lunar eclipse in Virgo being conjunct the South Node?
Yeah, like a spotlight on our habits, the baggage we carry.
Exactly. And he's calling us to examine those daily routines, anything that might be holding us back, especially overthinking or, that need to control everything.
Like micromanaging our lives.
Yeah. He even brings up the tarot, saying, the interplay of High Priestess, that's the moon and eclipse, with 10 of Pentacles, Virgo, highlights a conflict. You desire security and routine, but a hidden inner voice demands deeper honesty.
So even if we crave that stability,
Yeah.
we got to question it.
Is it really serving us?
Right. And he talks about the third house influence, communication.
Gets a slap in the face, he says.
Wow. Okay.
You can't ignore what needs to be said, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
Speak your truth.
And that includes your own truth?
This is especially tough for us Cancer folks. You know, we love harmony.
We do, but Lorenzo's not letting us off easy.
No, tough love.
He says this full moon is forcing you to see how your day-to-day mentality can trap you in safe illusions. Grow up or get stuck.
Okay. Message received. No more playing small. All right, so we got the full moon in South Node. What about that sextile to Mars in Cancer?
This one, he calls it a golden ticket to stop living by everyone else's rules.
Ooh, I like that.
Mars in Cancer, your sign, it's that push to fight for what matters to you emotionally.
Okay.
He reminds us, sextiles, they offer that opportunity to harness the energy, take action.
I'm ready to act.
And he connects it to the tarot again, saying the Tower, that's Mars, and the Chariot, Cancer, represent explosive emotional power, breakthrough, or meltdown, your call.
Breakthrough, please. So we've got this energy, this power, but got to use it wisely.
Don't tiptoe around.
No, be bold.
If you wimp out now, he says, expect a meltdown instead of a breakthrough.
All right, no pressure. But we've also got that opposition to Saturn in Pisces.
Right, this one, he says it tests your spiritual convictions, your big picture ideas.
Saturn, always bringing the tests.
He does.
Especially in Pisces, right? Dreams, illusions.
Exactly, and Lorenzo warns, if we've been avoiding reality, clinging to those illusions, this is where we gotta face the truth.
Saturn doesn't mess around.
If you've been living in some la-la land belief, he says, everything will just magically fix itself, Saturn crushes that nonsense, get real or get left behind.
Okay, so time to ditch the rose-colored glasses.
And he connects this to the ninth house, saying your worldview, your belief systems, higher learning, it's all about to either, mature or completely collapse.
No more spiritual bypassing.
No more bypassing. Exactly.
So we've got the full moon, the south node, the sextile to Mars, the opposition to Saturn. It's a lot.
It is.
But there's also that trine to Uranus and Taurus.
Yeah, this one's a little more hopeful.
Tell me more.
Lorenzo describes it as a catalyst for positive change.
Yeah.
Trines, they represent that flow, so Uranus and Taurus can bring innovative change without the friction.
Okay.
He emphasizes that Uranus and Taurus is about radical freedom, challenging those old traditions.
Like breaking the mold.
And he ties it to the 11th house, saying this aspect, it basically screams that your future can be different, dramatically different, if you break away from, that outdated groupthink.
So even with the challenges, there's still this potential for really positive transformation.
It's there, but you got to grab it, he says.
Seize the day.
Leap into new social circles, new methods, new projects, he says. The energy's there. Hesitate, and you lose the advantage.
All right, I'm feeling motivated. We've covered a lot, but there's still the opposition to Neptune in Pisces.
Right, the last piece of the puzzle.
What does Lorenzo say about this one?
This is the final showdown with illusions, he says.
Oh, wow.
Neptune, it blurs the lines, and at 29 degrees, it's like the last chance to deal with those spiritual illusions, he says.
Okay.
And with the full moon opposing it, those illusions, they crack.
Yikes, no sugarcoating there.
Nope, he's saying if we've been clinging to fantasies, avoiding the hard truths, this is it.
Time to wake up.
Face reality.
Separate fact from fiction.
Exactly. He relates it to the tarot again. The hanged man, that's Neptune, in the moon, Pisces. This is the ultimate test of faith versus self-deception.
Wow, that's powerful imagery. So this full moon, it's like a cosmic truth serum dissolving any illusions.
It is. And again, he brings in the ninth house. Your beliefs can either become enlightened or delusional, he says. There's no middle ground in these late degrees.
Got to be real with ourselves.
Brutally honest.
No more wishful thinking.
Exactly. And he reminds us, again, this isn't just about us. It's about healing those ancestral patterns, creating a better future for generations to come.
It's a big responsibility.
He says, you're not just releasing old patterns, you're exercising entire generational chains. Think of it as scraping off a thick layer of karmic residue that's been feeding fear into your everyday life.
Intense. But also really empowering, right? We have this power to break free.
We do.
And Lorenzo reminds us, this opportunity, it's not going to last forever.
He says this isn't just about a full moon or an eclipse or any single aspect. It's about actively dismantling the invisible fortress your ancestors built in your mind. Call it generational rebellion if you want, but it's the key to becoming the person you were never allowed to be.
That's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
So if we had to sum it all up, what's the key message here?
This full moon, it's a portal,
A portal to transformation,
but we have to choose to step through it.
right? It demands honesty, action, commitment.
What specific action, Lorenzo asks, will you take to seize this opportunity and create lasting change in your life and lineage?
That's the question, isn't it? What changes are we ready to make? What dreams are we ready to chase? What fears are we ready to face?
This full moon, it's our chance to rewrite our story, both for ourselves and for the generations that come after us.
To step into our power, create a future aligned with our truth.
That's it.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Lorenzo's predictions. It's been quite a journey.
Has.
And remember, the stars are always there to guide you.